Today we're going to ask some real tough questions. We got some real hard questions we need to ask ourselves. We need to ask ourselves these 5 questions before we buy new gear. These are the 5 questions you should be asking yourself before you decide to purchase new gear. These are business level questions. If you can't answer these questions, you probably shouldn't be getting new gear. Before we do that, you know what we got to do. We got to roll our intro. We got to roll our graphics. We got to do it all. Let's see if we can get it popping. Let's see if we can get it popping today. If you got questions right now, I'm going to ask that you post them in the comments if you have questions. So we'll give people a little time to get their questions ready, because I know people are gonna have questions about it, and I want to make sure that we answering them. All right, let's go for it. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. Let's give people a chance. Okay, let's talk about it. First off, if this is your first time on this channel, you got to know that this channel is about the business side of content creation. You can go other places to learn how to take better pictures, but right here is where you're going to learn the business side of content creation. And when we purchase gear, we got to ask ourselves some questions before we purchase some gear. We got to ask ourselves some questions. There's some things we need to have in place before we start to swiping credit cards and things like that. And I want to go over those 5 things you should be asking yourself. I know usually when we buy stuff, it's based off the fact that we want it. We think it's going to be dope. We like it. It's shiny objects, and we think it'll be great for our camera bag or case or whatever. But as a business owner, we got to ask some questions. We got to make sure that we're doing this right. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a second to post where y'all from in the comments so we can get a few of y'all up here. Let's go at number 5. And this is the Captain Obvious, right? It's a very obvious question you should be asking yourself. Is how will this gear improve my work? Right? How will it improve my work? Is it quality improvement? Is it efficiency? How will it improve my way of doing business? I can tell you that if you have a camera or lenses that came out in the past 10 years, it's probably going to not improve your quality of work as much as you think. However, a purchase should be improving your efficiency. Can it help me get in and out? Do it make my job easier? Do it make my life easier? Am I able to go and record faster? Am I able to have shorter shoot days? That's what you should be thinking about when you're making a camera purchase. It's one of the most important things you can really think about, because saving you time is saving you money. And I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of saving money when you're working with clients. You want to get in and you want to get out. All right. Let's go to the next one, right? And this is something that's very important that a lot of people don't think about. Should I rent it or should I own it? And to answer this question, when we move further along, you'll understand why this is important, or when you should definitely be asking this question. Is the gear or device I want, should I rent it? Is it worth purchasing for me? Right? Now, a lot of people, again, their number one reason for buying things is they just want it. I bought a bunch of stuff because I wanted it. I got wireless follow focus systems that I don't even use. I just had to have it because it looked dope. And it was, I seen 20 YouTube videos about it, but I'm holding my camera or standing next to it. Wireless doesn't make sense. I'm not monitoring on a monitor across the room from another camera operator who can't control the focus. It was just a dope purchase that I wanted. Did it make sense? Nope. Would I buy it again? Absolutely not. It wasn't a good purchase. It just didn't make sense. Real quick. This episode is being brought to you by, that's not the right button. It's being brought to you by our Content and Cash or Capture and Convert kit. And, make sure y'all check it out over on the website. Make sure y'all check it out. Now my graphics seems like it want to work. So you know what? We still going to roll the intro. Let's do that. let's let people know what they're watching. And let's jump in in 2 seconds and get to number 3, and number 4. But first, check this out.
You're listening to Content and Cash, a Flashfilm Academy podcast. If you want to learn how to take pretty pictures, this is not the place. But if you're ready to make a living by learning the business behind the camera, buckle up, because it's time to turn passion into profit with your host, Ty Turner.
All right, now that we got that out of the way for the second time, let's talk about the next thing, because I think the next thing is also important as well, and it's something that we don't really talk about, right? We don't really talk about is how many jobs will it take to justify this purchase? How many jobs? I'm talking about profit. Don't tell me you got booked for a $2,000 job and you went and bought a $2,000 product. It doesn't make sense because your profit is not $2,000. So that job did not pay for that device. What is the profit margins in that job? And do we have enough profit to cover this tool? That's something we need to think about. Now, this may be a huge purchase. You may have to eat some labor costs or eat some costs to have the ability to buy something that lands you a job. But it's something that you got to think about, because I think a lot of us don't. We just want it. Again, it goes back to emotional purchases. And business is logical. We don't want to have a lot of emotional purchases. We want to have we want business to be logical. So something you got to think about. Let's talk about the next one, right? And this is the most important in my opinion. The next two are the most important two in my opinion. One is, what is the benefit to the client? How is the client benefiting from me making this purchase or having this tool? How are they benefiting? Not just what's the feature? Oh, I want to purchase this new slider, but how are the clients benefiting from it? What is a direct way your clients can benefit from it? And if you can't think of that, you probably shouldn't be making a purchase. My clients can't benefit from wireless follow focuses. And not unless I'm shooting movies, not in my niche. This is why this is so important based off the type of niche you're in, the type of business you're running. What is the benefit to the client? There may not be a benefit to the client. So it's difficult to justify that purchase because there may not be a benefit to the client. And you need to think about that with every purchase you make. You know what the benefit to the client is for a second camera? If something happened on the shoot, the client don't have to throw away their shoot day. The client can also get a second angle. There are benefits for the client or to the client that you need to be mindful of. Last but not least, let's talk about number one, and I'll give you guys time to post questions. Last but not least, and it's something that you really, 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 really need to think about. Is this something my clients are asking for? Is this something my clients are asking for? Have you been on a shoot and you're shooting brand stories and 4 clients say, I would like a drone shot of the outside of the building? Do you have clients saying, hey, I would like somebody to bring a camera and walk through our facilities? Is there a steady cam needed? Do it justify purchasing that steady cam? If they're asking for it, then you probably need it. But if they're not asking for it, you probably don't need it. If you are a freelancer and you're working with directors, if you're a DP, that's your client. They're probably asking for stuff. You probably need to get it if you run across clients who are asking for it a lot. Then it makes sense to purchase it. If the price is right, if your profit margins are set up correctly, then it makes sense to purchase it. If not, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. So let me go over these 5 real quick while I wait for you guys to post more of your Q's and A's, because I'm not gonna be here for a long time today. Number 5, how would this gear improve my work? Got to know it either needs to be quality or efficiency. Efficiency is always first. Don't put quality first. Quality is not first. People walk around with iPhones in their pocket that can outshoot a majority of photographers and videographers who wake up one day and decide they want to do this. So efficiency over quality. Efficiency makes you money. That's the only part. Better quality don't make you money unless your quality is absolutely trash. Number four, you should be asking yourself is, should I rent it or is it worth owning? Should I rent it or is it worth owning? It's hard to beat the idea of renting something because you should be passing that cost along to your clients. If it's a tool you're using a lot, you can pocket that rental fee by owning the product. But if you're not owning it, it doesn't make sense to do it. All right. Let me post that up there real quick. It doesn't make sense to do it. Next is, how many jobs will it take to justify this purchase? Something you got to think about. How many jobs will it take to pay this thing off in my area of profit? Not I got booked for a $2,000 job, so I went and bought a $2,000 lens. You're losing money. You're losing money right now. You could have rented that lens, added it to the cost, and passed that on to the client. All right. Up next is, what's the benefit to the client? What is the benefit to the client? How would a client benefit from this purchase that I'm making? How would they benefit from it? How would they know? What are they getting out of this deal? Me going to buy this new gear, like, what are they getting out of it? I need to know. All right. Let me see where my next button at. Let me also say real quick that if you guys have questions, if there's a question that you guys have that you don't want to ask here, we got places where you can go and you can ask those questions. I'm trying to see if I got my button, but it ain't acting right. It's all good. But if you go to questions.flashfilmacademy, you can ask a question and we'll answer it. All right. Thought I had my button here. Guess I didn't. Anyway, let's talk about the next one. Is this something my clients are asking for? Is it something my clients are asking for? If my clients aren't asking for it, why am I purchasing it? Why do I have it? Why am I going to get it? They're not going to ask for a slider. They are going to ask for parallax shots. They're going to ask for different things. They're not going to ask for a drone. They're going to ask for aerial shots. So they may not say, hey, do you got a super micro lens? But they may say, hey, can we get a close-up of this product to show the diamonds? Can we get a close-up of it? This is what I was talking about earlier. If you got questions, if you got a nagging question that's burning you about how to start your business or grow it, that's where you go. Record an audio message, and I will play it on the next podcast. All right. Now, let's go to Q&A. Calvin Harris asks, he said, I'm not a photographer or videographer. I just need you to show me how to set up my live streams like this. Okay, I'm using a combination of a few things. I'm using a YOLO box. I'm using Ecamm. I'm using a very good lens with a shallow depth of field. I'm using a big sensor. And I'm using a Rodecaster Pro. I'm using a really good mic, SMB 700, and that's about it. You can find those things over on my website. I got them listed where you can go check them out. And you can see what items I'm using to live stream. You can also check out the top books that we talk about and some of the services that we use on Fiverr to help, grow certain aspects of our business, from press releases to web page copy, things like that. I'll post it again. There you go. That's where you can get all that information from. There's a list. It's called the Tie List. If you go to Flashfilm Academy, you can definitely go there. We got Miami in the house. We got a few places in the house. We'll give a few places. Carlos says, what's a great way to tell clients what they need? They may not realize what they're missing. They might not even know how to put it into words. Okay, there's a few ways you can tell clients what they're missing. A way I like to show them is, in a way that usually works best for me, is by showing them the competition. What is the competition doing? That sets the bar, because I don't want clients feeling like they're buying something that nobody else is doing. I want clients to feel like they're behind. Another way to tell clients, talk about what they need, is becoming the authority, right? Is walking in the door, taking charge of the problem. Because remember, we're project managers, we're solving problems, but taking charge of that problem as though you're the problem solver. You never argue with your doctor on what you need, because they are the authority figure. A lot of times when a lot of content creators or photographers go in, they're perceived as starving artists, and they're so anxious to just listen and say, okay, what you need, I'm gonna shoot it, that they don't take charge. And when you come from a niche and you have the ability to speak intelligently about the service you provide, why you can take charge in the conversation. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Because when you take charge in a conversation, it's because you know more about that topic than the client. So, hey, client, I know that you're trying to create content for marketing, but let me tell you what has worked for us in the past. Let me tell you some ways. To get clients, or let me tell you some ways we've done X, Y, and Z for previous clients like yourself to get A, B, and C. When you take charge and you have proof on your website as being the company that specializes in this, you can lower their guard and they'll listen to you more than they normally would if they hired you to just film. And another thing is this, you gotta, I don't want to say harp, but you gotta double down on the problem they have. If they call you to film a video and you don't ask the questions to get to the problem, you may not be able to provide an intelligent solution. So even though a client is saying, hey, we need training videos, right? I'm always trying to understand, well, why? Why do you need training videos? Oh, because we got this training and we want to teach people. Okay, what have you been doing previous? Have you been sending out somebody? Like what, you want to get in deep and understand the true problem so that you can offer real information on how to solve that problem using your cinematic solutions. So by asking deeper questions and having a better understanding of the problem and not just what they want filmed, you'll be able to give them things that they didn't know they needed. And that's why I always go in with a project manager hat on first and not a videographer or a photographer. I don't present myself as a videographer or a photographer because they can only do one thing, and that's hit a record button. They can properly expose and hit a record button. I go in as the project manager. The biggest tool on my tool belt is my camera, but I am the project manager to understand what your problems are and to offer solutions for those problems. If you go in as just a photographer or a videographer, you're limiting your ability to I don't want to say negotiate with the client, but you're limiting your role in completing the project. I don't want to be just a cameraman on a movie set. I want to be the director. So you have to walk in with that hat on, and you do that by having a niche and having the ability to speak your client's language. When you live within your niche, let's say it's the dental field, and I'm just using that off the top of my head. When you go in, there is certain lingo and things in the way you carry yourself that dentists identify with. Right. I always use this analogy as a content creator, as a camera owner. Right now, there's things people can say to you, they know what they're talking about. And there's things people, can say to lose you. Hey, I got this big old lens. I'm trying to get close to the players and zoom in. That guy don't know about camera gear. But if somebody say I got an 800 millimeter f2.8 Canon EF mount, they know what they're talking about. So simply by speaking those two differences in how I talk when I walk in the door, I can get the attention of serious photographers versus those who aren't as serious. What big lens you got? I got a bunch of big lenses. I got this big lens. I got that big. Those guys aren't as professional as somebody who's saying, hey, I got a 70-200 f2.8 Canon L series Mark II, and I'm looking to upgrade to the Mark III. Like those are things that they know what they're talking about a little bit by speaking different. When you walk into your business, that's your niche, your client is looking at you the same way. A lot of you guys can't get your foot in the door because you can't you can't speak the language enough to gain trust for them to listen to the rest of what you have to say. So something to definitely think about. And again, the Flashfilm Academy approach is being the project manager. We don't want to be the photographer or videographer. We want to be the project manager. The project manager is the biggest check you're going to get in this business. And if you remove yourself from being directly on camera, you can't be replaced by AI. AI becomes a tool of yours. So if you're managing a project, how we create the content, I'm not going to say it don't matter, but it's not the reason you hired me. So if we ever get to a point in the future where, let's say, AI really put the hamper down on photography and videography, you as the project manager is not touched because you can use all the tools that's available to complete the project. If they're hiring a photographer, you're easily replaceable, if that makes sense. So it's just being smarter about business and not being too close to the fire, but having the ability to get as close as you need. Plus, as a project manager, your check is bigger. You get a much bigger check, much bigger check as a project manager. So something to definitely think about. All right. Big Mouth Africa says, how do I get new clients? How do I make clients understand the difference between phone cameras and cameras? Okay, first things first, we got a whole membership dedicated to bringing in new clients. Flashfilmacademy.com, where it breaks down everything you need to know and understand to get new clients. And let me tell you why that's not a one-off answer that I can just be like, oh, just do this. Because there's a lot of things that come into play: your location, your niche, the gear you have available, the type of clients around you. My job is not to teach you what to think. There is no answer. And if somebody get on YouTube and say, just do this, they're lying to you. But my job is to teach you how to think about the resources you have available so that you can get clients from them. So there is a lot of answers to that question. But again, if you're walking in the door and you're only competing based off the camera that you have in your hand, you're not going to make it. Camera quality is nothing. And you're right. If your client can't tell the difference between cell phone footage and regular camera footage, which they can't these days, if you're selling a client based off quality, you're not going to make it. Because there's no reason why a client can't see money and having a image that is 20% clearer than what their cell phone can produce. It doesn't relate to money to them. The return on investment is not greater by working with you. So if image quality is your main selling feature because you ponied up to buy a camera, you're not going to make it. That is no longer a selling feature in 2024. And this goes for everybody that's listening. If the only way you think a client will work with you is because you got the biggest, baddest gear, those days are over with. Those days, you're not going to make it. Those days are over with. And I'm not telling you this to rain on your parade. I'm telling you this so you can understand the pivot that needs to take place for your business to start to gain traction. It's not with gear. Gear is the last thing on the list. But I want to make sure that you guys understand the importance of owning the project. Good question just popped up on my Instagram. It's SA Loan Pro say, how will you find a solution for companies that want training videos? Or how would you suggest that they have training videos? One, I would dig deeper into understanding what drove them to know that they need training videos. So let me break it down in a sense of something that everybody can relate to, right? And this is an analogy I use all the time because I like to look at how other businesses do business and copy from it and steal. When you go see a doctor and you say that your back hurt, they're going to ask you questions to understand why your back hurt. They're not just going to say, well, what part of your back? And let me give you a Tylenol. They're going to ask how you sleep, how you walk, how you stand. Are you sitting all day at work? Are you standing all day at work? They're going to ask qualifying questions to help understand how we got here. Not to replicate the issue, but they want to understand how we got here. Right? What are the leading causes to get here? As a company that needs training video, there are leading causes to help them to understand how they got here. I guarantee you this is probably not their first training video, and this is not their first method of training. They probably got text. They probably do in-person training. So how did we get here? Right? How do I understand how we got to this point? Have they hired a company before and it didn't work out? Have they tried video for training before and it was good or bad or it was a long time ago? Do they have somebody that they're sending around to travel? Is that person retiring, getting old, got fired? Like how are we here? And then once I understand how we're here, I can better assist you with this training content because I can make it fit your situation instead of just shooting something for a client. And we've all shot something for a client and never heard back from them. Delivered it. They were like, cool, here's the payment. Peace, sucker. Never heard back from them. A great client will hire you over and over again. Don't no company need one picture and one video. No company needs one. So if you got hired by a company and you never heard from them again, they went with somebody else. And it was probably because you didn't ask the right questions to fully understand what they needed. You just gave them what they asked for. And sometimes you have to be you have to be smart enough in that industry to know to ask more questions. Right? When you go to your dentist and you're saying your tooth hurt, they don't just give you medication and shoot it up with, something to make it go away. They research the problem and look and do x-rays and do everything to understand what the problem is. If you go in the emergency room right now with a gunshot wound, they're going to do more than fix that gunshot wound. They're going to check vitals and look at levels and run blood work and do everything they can to fully understand the rest of your body. What a lot of you guys are doing with your camera is you're just patching a gunshot wound and saying, all right, you should be good. You're not looking to remove the bullet. You're not looking to understand about the client and their health to fully create a solution that solves their problem. You're just solving surface level problems. When you solve the whole problem and that client sees a return on that investment, you become an asset. You become a preferred vendor and you have a client for life. And if you don't walk into this client understanding that big client that hired you that one time will only hire you one time. Because you should be solving problems. And you to have the ability to solve those problems, you need to live within a niche that you're knowledgeable of. That's why people say, well, I can shoot this and I can shoot that and I can film this and I can film that. But can you talk about it? Do you understand the businesses that need just that one service? Are you knowledgeable? Can you have an intelligent conversation that's within your niche? Can you convince somebody who work and live in that niche every day that you know what the hell you're talking about? Because if you go in there with the camera mumbo jumbo, 4K, 8K, HDMI, blah, 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 that's not going to help you work with that client. Period. If your mechanic came and talked to you about cylinder compression ratios, you wouldn't care. What? Help! My car is not running. Help me. He got to dumb it down and say, "Hey, you need new head gaskets. This is why. This is the test we ran. You got your antifreeze is mixing with your oil right here, and this is why you need new head gaskets." He don't want to talk to you about, or he can't come to you with, all the information on how he think the head gasket, blah blah blah. He's gonna ask questions. Did the car overheat? Is the smoke coming out the tailpipe? Is it white or is it black? Is it gray? Are you having a loss of power? Is it leaking? When did this start? He's asking questions to get to the problem, but he's not going to go into super detail as if you understand the mumbo jumbo technical things that he understands. So selling requires you understanding what your client is going through, offering the right solution. You can offer more when you understand more. I can't sell you items if I don't understand who you are. If you're watching this video, you probably own a camera. You probably own some lenses. You probably own some gear. Guess what? If I had a lens for sale, I know that I can probably sell it to you because I know a little bit about you because you're within the range of my target audience. Why do you think people like Peter McKinnon get signed to sell bags and stuff from companies whose target audience is his audience? Right? That's why companies sign shoe deals. Jordan don't know anything about how to make a shoe comfortable. He don't know anything about the way you walk and plantar fasciitis and anything. But they knew because they're selling an athletic shoe and he's athletic, he can help sell those shoes. So a company that know about your foot and all the important mumbo jumbo details partnered with a company or partnered with a brand that was athletic to sell a athletic shoe. So it's all about business. You can do the same if you partner with a chamber of commerce or you partner with a bigger brand who have a lot of clients. That's why I tell people who are working with bookkeepers. Bookkeepers are some of the greatest people to work with because they can refer you out to a lot of their clients and they know what they're making. They know what profit they have. They know how much they spent on marketing. Bookkeepers are the best people to work with. Just like tax preparation people, they're great. if you know how to work the leads. So it's great to have the ability to work with the right clients. Questions you have asked in your particular industry. So we have a intake form that we use when we work with clients. It's just different per industry, and it's different per area. What worked for me may not work for you. I think the best bet is to come and understand. Module 1 teaches you how to ask the right questions. It teaches you how to research the right questions for your market, your area, so that you can ask the right questions. Module 1 goes over that in detail, as well as Module 3. Module 3 goes even deeper in asking questions to help you understand what's right for your niche and your target audience. You can check those out at Flashfilm Academy. But they go into detail to help you understand the right questions. There is no one right question for your niche, because your niche may operate different depending on where you are in the world. And if you're doing photo or video, these are things you need to be mindful of. There is no one quick way to go get clients. There ain't a switch you can cut on. It's going to take some work. It's going to take how you present yourself and where you are, as far as where your business is presented and listed, as well as what you claim to do, right? What problem do you solve? If you don't understand what problem that you solve, how you know who to go after? If you don't understand what problem you solve, how do you know who's going to buy from you? If you don't know what you do, how do you expect somebody else to know what you do? Right? If you can't articulate the problem that you solve, how do you expect somebody that's why you guys are having a hard time convincing people that they need photo and video. People don't need photo and video. They need whatever problem photo and video solves. They need that problem solved. They will never need photo and video. Clients don't buy photography and videography. They don't buy it. What they do buy is the solution that photography and videography provides. If you're not focused on that solution, if you're focused on the idea of images and video, you're not going to make it, because big checks don't come from artistic content anymore. Big checks comes from content designed to get results, period. And if you're not thinking about what you offer that way, you're not going to be as successful as you think, because your mind needs to be rooted in the idea of solving problems for your client, period. I am a problem solver. I write cinematic prescriptions. I am the doctor. So that is what I do. Sam T says, how many times did you fail before you begin to see success? More than I can count. More than I can count. You're going to fail a lot. Failure is normal. Failure is like taking a step. Fail forward. Be happy to fail. Because if you failing, you're getting somewhere. You should fail a lot. You should fail more than you think. You should go into the red. You're going to fail so much that it's not going to hurt anymore. It's not going to sting anymore. It's not going to sting anymore. You should always fail. As they say, yeah, I have the course, and it's a great way to know. Oh, and it's great. I just wanted to know specific examples in my particular industry. Okay, so one of the questions I like to ask, and a question you can probably ask, I'll give you one that's kind of general, is have they worked with a video production company before? What was the outcome? I want to know. I want to know what the expectations are. My goal is to know what success look like from a client. I want to know what success looks like. What needs to take place for you to be ecstatic about this video? And I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna go one or two ways. They're either gonna talk about what they want to see visually, or they're gonna talk about the results, right? Either way, I'm gonna take both by the horn and control the situation. If it's about results, then we need to do X, Y, and Z, because in the industry, we've worked with companies that got the results that you want. This is what we did. That's another opportunity to take the conversation by the horns, instead of letting them tell you what they want. You think I'm just going to shoot it and it's going to look great and everybody's going to be happy. But the truth is they want to spend money for something that makes them money. And if I don't understand that, if I'm not addressing the elephant in the room, it makes me look like a rookie. I want to address the elephant in the room. And that's why I'm here to solve problems. That's why I'm here to solve problems. So if we're not thinking about the idea of solving problems, if problem solving is not at the front of what we're trying to do, we're just a camera guy. Camera guys are replaceable. Everybody got a cousin that got an iPhone that can film, that they can call up to do X, Y, Z or whatever. Everybody got one of them. I got a 9-year-old that's editing video on CapCut right now on his cell phone. Everybody's content creators these days. What set you apart? And as we grow, people talking about, well, AI and smartphones, you need to be mindful of all the younger people who are coming up that's editing videos for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, who are bleeding into your industry, who are saying, you know what, I like this. I want to get paid to do this. Let me go find some clients. That's what you need to be worried about. And if you're not ahead of that by being a problem solver, if you're not ahead of that by thinking about the business, you're going to get swept under the rug. They're going to get you. So any last questions? I'll let you give you a few seconds to post any of your last questions before we slide out, before we get ready to roll. Definitely something to think about. So as a content creator, we're getting pinched from a lot of different areas. Like I said, cell phone footage just looks great. AI is coming. You got a bunch of young editors that are filming and creating content for the purpose of TikTok and Instagram. They understand the algorithms. They understand what get views and what don't. If you're the type of person that don't touch social media, how can you get in front of your client and create content that does well if you don't know what do well? If you're not living and breathing these social media platforms to understand how things work for your client. If you got a client saying that they want to go viral, they want to bring in clients, they want to do this, that, and the other on TikTok because they seen somebody making money. How do you know what works on TikTok and what don't if you're not there? I guarantee you there's some 13, 14, 15-year-old kids who do. So when clients need to do things on TikTok and you can't talk about it, and that 15-year-old can, you've just missed a client who probably gonna pay them a lot less. So it's good to understand your niche. And look, this don't matter if your niche ain't a younger niche or niche ain't a TikTok audience. Don't matter. But it depends on your niche. Kevin Reese, are there niches that you recommend staying away from? Yes, I say stay away from any small one-person companies, right? Any small one, like barbers, salons, things like that. Maybe the salon owner, but I stay away from any of those entrepreneurial companies who are one-man bands that are just getting started. They will want to work with you, but they won't have the resources. I like working with small to medium-sized companies that have resources. We're in business to make money. We're in business to be profitable. So I want to work with other profitable companies. I don't want to work with companies who aren't as profitable. They're going to micromanage you. Their expectations are going to be unbelievable for the amount of budget they have. And unless you turn their company around, you will never meet their expectation. So even if you take away the money aspect of it, you're setting yourself up for failure by working with a company that's not profitable. I want to work with profitable companies. I want to work with companies that the money isn't an object. They just want it done right. My brand is built to work with those companies. You know what other brands are built to work with people like that? Mercedes, BMW, Lexus. Those companies are designed to work with people who money is not an object. It ain't about getting from point A to point B. People want luxury vehicles. That's what they want. So those brands are designed, and guess what? They're attached to brands that do cheaper content, not cheaper content, but sell cheaper products. So it's coming from the same place. It's just one got a different logo on it. Just like Gucci and Prada, that stuff the quality is less than Levi and Wrangler, but it costs more because they've branded themselves as a supreme high-end company, in which you should be doing yourself. And if you're not doing that, you should be looking to do that within your niche. If not, you're gonna work. Listen, Gucci can always go on sale. It's the cheap brands that can't go higher. Gucci can always go on sale. It can always go on clearance. Cheap stuff can't get more expensive. I think Arizona iced tea went from 99 cents finally to like $1.25. People having a stroke. Candy bars getting smaller because they can't go up on the price, and they still go up on the price. They try to push king size. So, it's hard to go up on the price. It's difficult. It's easy to go down. So present yourself as a premier brand. Present yourself that way. Let's see. Carlos, he said questions you've already answered. How much should we be charging for renting out our gear during a shoot? Market rate with borrow lens charges. Okay, so if you know me, I don't usually. I'm not big on having a gear separate price for gear. I just don't. Clients don't know the difference unless you're being hired by a director, unless you're a DP, unless you're a freelancer. General clients who have problems to be solved don't understand. So for me, it's wrapped into the day rate, right? So it's included in my day rate unless it's an additional product that they're renting, like a teleprompter, or they're adding on, not renting, but it's an additional add-on, like a teleprompter or something like that. Drone video is an additional add-on that a client will be clicking a box to get aerial shots. I like to include it in my day rate, and that's just how I like to do it, just to make things simple. Because clients see a lot of prices and they feel taken advantage of. They're getting one video, but it's 20 things. And I don't understand half of these things. If it's things that they have to question, it lowers your integrity to the client. If it look like it's hidden fees or it's additional, you know how I feel when you get your cell phone bill and you see 6 different taxes. When you get your check every 2 weeks or whatever, and you see a bunch of taxes and crap coming out, you feel taken advantage of. Instead of just having one flat fee for day rate that includes, 2 cameramen, this camera, that, blah, 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 blah. I like to put it all together. And then also, you don't have clients come back saying, what's this? Take this off. Y'all tried to get me with an extra, take that off. I didn't ask for that. So it eliminates that. And you want to eliminate that, because it lowers the integrity level when working with clients. If it is a big piece of equipment that the client is paying extra for, then yes, put the cost there, right? An additional camera, things like that, which that's where you would add the cost. But I personally don't like to add a kit price, because clients don't understand what that is, and a lot of content creators have put that out here. Let me break it down to you as to why they're putting it out here. One, it's an old method. It's a 1985 method. See, look, a lot of content creators are teaching you, they're speaking on business from a time where the only people who used to hire videographers and photographers were like directors. You know what I mean? You were hired as a freelancer. So they're teaching you freelance tactics to run a business. We're not doing freelancing stuff here. We are the project manager. We are the business they hire to solve a problem. We're not the person who know what the problem is, who needs to hire a photographer or a videographer. So that's the difference. If I am hiring a photographer or a videographer, I care about his camera kit. I care about his lenses. I care about those things because I know what those things are. And I'm solving the problem using content. So I'm hiring somebody to solve my problem, which is the ability to create content. So I care about those things. And that person is a freelancer. He is not a business. As a project owner, I'm getting the biggest check and I'm paying him a little bit, the portion I need to pay him to film. We're not splitting. This ain't half. I'm giving you out of the budget what I think it should cost to film it, because I got other stuff to pay for, and most of the profit is mine. So a lot of these content creators who are on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, who've been hired by a director or an agency or somebody who just needed a camera guy, is pushing off that experience to you guys as if it's business, and it's not. You are an hourly freelancer that's not running a business. Those tactics don't apply to going out here landing clients every day. It applies if you want to work for a director all day, every day. Yes, that's where it works. If you're a filmmaker and you're being hired to be on set as a key grip, a DP, something like that, yes, that matters. If you're looking to walk into a business and sell that business on why they need content or work with a company directly, you need to be the project manager. You need to be the project manager. You need to carry yourself differently, because companies who don't know what they need or how they need it or why they need to work with somebody to manage the project. That is the difference between what other people talk about and teach and what we talk about and teach. And you need to grow your business around your ability to manage a project. That is how we stay future-proof. That is how we land bigger clients. And we talk about this heavily in module 1 through 3. So it's just about changing how you feel about business and how you look at business is the system that we sell here at Flashfilm Academy. It's a whole different system and a different way of thinking that you need to be mindful of as a business owner, not a content creator, not a photographer, not a filmmaker. That is what separates us. So if you're trying to decide, well, why Flashfilm Academy, we teach a different system compared to everybody else that's regurgitating freelancer topics and trying to push them off as business. That's not business. That's being a freelancer, an hourly freelancer, an up for hire freelancer, and we're not about that life. You're not going to get a $40, $50, $60, $100,000 check if you're a freelancer unless you worked 600 hours. It don't work like that. You're paid based off your time as a freelancer. As a project manager, I'm paid based off the project. I'm rewarded for completing the project faster. Freelancers are penalized for completing the project faster. We're not the same. So as a project manager, if I charge more to complete it faster, I make more money by completing the project faster as compared to a freelancer that loses money for completing the project faster. And that's just something we go over again in module 1, understanding the difference between the two, because a lot of people don't. They just know they want to get paid with their camera by any means necessary. But if you invest in your brand, you get to control the type of clients that are attracted to you, and you get to control the cost of completing the project. And having the expertise of understanding a niche, their problems, how to solve their problems, and having experience solving their problems is what make you valuable. All right. Any last questions before we ride? Because I'm giving y'all a lot. I'm giving y'all a whole lot today for 2 easy payments of free $99. Go ahead, if you get a chance, download the Flashfilm Academy app or join over at flashfilmacademy.com. We do this all day, every day. We do it all day, every day. If you're on the fence, go ahead, grab the Capture and Convert kit. It's free. If you're on the fence, if you feel like, hey, that's a free course, 5 courses and 2 free ebooks, that should get your foot in the door and making money in the industry. That's loud, I know. But with that, if that don't get you to the point where you're in a position to join as a member, nothing will. You're just not ready to do it. Anyway, with that being said, that's all my questions for the day. That's all I got on my screen. Let me double check both apps. We good? We Gucci? All right. Hey, I'm going to ask y'all to do what I ask y'all to do every single week. I'm going to ask y'all to like, share, subscribe, first off. And I want you to think about this. I say it every time. I'm going to say it again. Every business around you need content. Why aren't they hiring you? Every business. They need content every day for every platform. Seriously, think about that. I don't care where you are in the world. If a business is trying to make money, it needs content. It needs content for its website, for its social media platforms, for its email list. It needs content. It needs pictures for the window, for the menu. Every business needs content every day. Why aren't they hiring you? Why aren't they hiring you? Why don't you have a waiting list and a calendar full of businesses that need what you have to offer? You can create the content. You do it every day. There's a reason why they're not hiring you. When you're ready to answer that question, come and join Flashfilm Academy. As always, be inspired, be creative, but your damn show better be profitable, especially in 2024. See y'all next week.
You've been listening to Content and Cash, a Flashfilm Academy podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and go to our webpage at www.flashfilmacademy.com.